This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. You know, I tell y'all, man, when I'm not sold on somebody, there's a reason for that. I'm going to say that again. When I'm not sold on somebody, there's a reason for that. Teofimo Lopez, the gall and the audacity of this young pup. He's sitting there trying to call out Errol the True Spence, a pit bull. How's a little pup trying to call out I mean, come on. You guys know there's levels to this stuff, man. Woo, that boy want to get his head beaten off, man. That's what it is. See, Errol the True Spence ain't Loma, man. I'm going to say this again. Errol the True Spence is not Lomachenko. Lomachenko will sit there and let you call him out. So not that Loma's not afraid. It's just Loma want a belt. But Errol the True Spence is like any cats that come from the gutter, man. You know how it is when they come from the gutter. Don't be calling me out, man. Because when you call me out, you got to keep that same energy. I'm going to say it again. When you call me out, you got to keep that same energy. Because right about now, he got about 2, possibly 3 more times to call out Errol the True Spence. I'm going to say that again. He got 2, possibly 3 more times to call out Errol the True Spence. He do that? I know my boy. He's going to call his bluff. Because he does that with any and everybody. And we already know Errol the True Spence has a propensity to fight a smaller guy. He did that in Mikey Garcia. Damn near decapitated him. Listen. Teofimo Lopez. If you're hearing and listening, if you're hearing and hearing me well, you better listen and listen up, you little pup. Roof, roof. That's what you are at your truest and most properest levels. If you don't want the pit bull to come after you and straight paralyze and damn near leave you crippled, you better leave him alone. Because I know Errol the True Spence. He'll even run up on your ass. Talking all that noise you talking. And this ain't no run up like Devin Haney doing all this loud. Nah, ain't gonna be none of this shit. It's gonna be, hey, you gonna sign that paperwork? We're gonna step into the ring? Because I told y'all, I'm past this, I'm too green. You know, these cats are too green mindset. I'm past that. I left that plantation, man. I'm off that boat. I'm on the mentality and the reality of this. And here's what I'm on. I'm on fighters. If you think you're ready and you think you're up for the challenge to fight a alpha lion, go ahead, step into the ring. I have no problems with you doing that. But when you get your ass whooping, I'm going to be right there to laugh at you. What Teofimo Lopez is borderlining right now is on the fact that he is becoming the new Adrien Broner. Oof. I know I said something that's going to hurt some people's feelings. I know this is going to hurt the D. Jeffersons of the world because Teofimo Lopez is his boy. But hear me and hear me well. Teofimo Lopez is bordering on the side of becoming the new Adrien Broner. He's doing a little bit too much of this. He doesn't know that his mouth has no limits. I can see that. Like Master P. No limit. That's what it is, man. He has no limits on his mouth. And I can see that. And whenever he sits there and continues to call out Errol the True Spence, eventually the big boy is going to say, hey, I'm calling your bluff out in public. Because, see, this is not Loma. Errol the True Spence don't like people calling his name out more than 3 times. When Mikey did it, what happened? Call Al Heyman. Let's sign the damn thing up. So if I'm Teofimo Lopez, I stay very far away. You just had a performance against Edith Tatley. I watched that fight. And shout outs to YC Rahman, man, because he put it out there. I was going to say it, but he just said it before me. So you know me. When somebody say something before me, I got to give credit where credit's due. Here's the 2 glaring deficiencies that I see in Teofimo Lopez. And why, if he fights somebody like Errol the True Spence, he will get fucking straight stopped. He should have got Edith Tatley out of there in 2 rounds, possibly 3. D. Jefferson sitting there blowing me up. Oh, I told you about Teofimo Lopez. Higgity hush with that, man. Because apparently you wasn't watching that fight. Because if you was watching that fight, you would see the two glaring deficiencies in Teofimo Lopez. He's having issues with cutting the ring off. And he has issues with finishing his opponents. I saw that in that fight. Yes, if you go back and look at the tail of the tape of that fight, he did not cut the ring off effectively. And in an emphatic fashion for him to get that dude out of there in 2 to 3 rounds. Plus, he wasn't able to finish his opponent off the way that he was supposed to. That could possibly be some credit to the fact that it was a step-up fight and he fought Edis Tatley, who wasn't like all these other bums. Don't get me wrong, he's still a bum too, but maybe he wasn't as much of a bum. It could have been credit to that. Or it could be credit to the fact that these are, in which I'm believing the latter is, if you're watching that fight and you watch all 5 rounds before the stoppage happened, that Teofimo Lopez has those 2 glaring deficiencies. But here's another one. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure YC News saw that too. If you go and look at that fight, Edis Tatley was landing some shots on him. One thing that I noticed, and I've been saying that, I think I said that before, when a guy keeps their hands down, I get it. It's so that he could, he has speed, he has elusiveness, he has athleticism, you know what I'm saying? He has all of this on his side. But see, when Roy Jones Jr. and Sergio Martinez was doing this stuff, they weren't getting touched up. I'm seeing Teofimo do this stuff, and I'm seeing guys actually landing shots on him. Go look at that fight. Edis Tatley was connecting with his jab. So that tells me right there he has a bad habit. And I was telling you guys that. But when I was saying that, nobody was listening to me. He has a tendency to keep his hands down a lot. You can't be doing that shit against very elite competition if you fight the Shakur Stevensons of the world. You will be exposed, man. You saw the way Shakur Stevenson handled Christopher Diaz. And to me, that was a harder fight. To me, a Christopher Diaz opponent was better than an Edis Tatley. That's my opinion. And the role should have reversed. How come Teofimo Lopez is fighting after Shakur Stevenson? Shakur Stevenson is the silver medalist, man. The silver Olympic medalist. He should be the one having the fight right before Terrence Bud Crawford. But again, that's that Bob Arum stuff. I'm not even going to touch up on it because I touched up on it sometime before, but people wasn't trying to hear me when I was saying that nonsense. It is what it is. I'll leave that alone. That's neither here nor there. The point that I'm trying to make is those are his 3 glaring deficiencies. And I'm going to say that. He's showing that he has an issue with cutting off the ring. And I think this is going to become more prevalent as he steps up against his competition. You're going to see it exposed more and more. He can get hit. He can get countered. If you have an effective jab that you can put in front of him because he keeps his hands down, he can get hit. He's there to be hit. Because I wasn't buying in all of this spectacular nonsense. I told y'all guys that dude, and I was saying that a long time ago. Nobody was listening to me. That is a problem. When you start developing those bad habits, you get paid for it. I remember Adrien Broner had that same bullshit bad habit. Even when as talented as he was at the time that he was coming up the ranks. You can't be doing that type of stuff. You're going to get exposed. And then the fact that he can't finish his opponents, but then you want to call out Errol the True Spence, the number 1 headhunter, the number 1 guy that knows how to finish his opponents. I mean, come on, man. This is stuff I'm talking about. But people want me to be sold. I gave that man his credit last night for getting a bum out of there in 5 rounds. He was expected in 5 rounds or less to get the guy out of there. If he didn't do that, I would have had to start questioning him. And to be honest with you, based on his performance last night, he is not ready for Lomachenko. From what I've seen, Loma was able to do against Anthony Crolla, who to me, Crolla was a way better opponent than an Edis Tatley. And what Teofimo Lopez was able to do against Edis Tatley, he's not ready for Loma, man. And if he thinks he is, he's on something, folks. So if you're not ready for Loma, why are you calling out Errol the True Spence? And you know what? Teofimo Lopez, his issues of not having limits on his mouth, and also not only not having limits on his mouth, also not knowing, you know what I'm saying, when to understand that there's limits to his fighting capabilities and know that certain names are off the table. There's this other issue, his camp. They're just sitting there backing him up on any rhetoric that comes out of his mouth. As soon as he mentioned Errol the Truth Spence, they should have pulled the microphone away from his mouth. I'm going to say that again. As soon as Errol the Truth Spence name was mentioned, they should have pulled the microphone away from his mouth. That's what I would have done. Because do you want to cripple your boxing career? Do you want to be paralyzed, dude? I mean, seriously, you have to ask yourself these serious questions. Because Errol the Truth Spence is not Loma. You call him out 2 to 3 more times, he will call your bluff. That's right. He will call your bluff, folks. And then we're going to see if Teofimo Lopez keeps that same energy at that point. He won't mind. He'll probably tell you, hey, get your ass to 147 and let's have the fight. Teofimo Lopez is a big dude. He's damn near not able to stay at 130 anymore. You know what I'm saying? 135 anymore. Clearly, he's going to move up to 140 soon, very soon. That's why he's begging for the Loma fight, because he can't stay at 135. So that tells me, and I'm pretty sure his walk-around rate is over 147 pounds. So realistically, yeah, bring your ass up to 147 so he can get his ass whooped. Because I'm telling you, man, if he keeps calling out Errol the Truth Spence's name, that fight's going to happen. I know people sit there looking at me like, what? Yes, because I know Errol the Truth Spence. He goes where that money is at. He's shown that with Mikey Garcia. You call me out enough, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you out on your bluff. And I'm going to look at you dead in your face and I'm going to tell you to keep that same energy. Because that's what's going to happen. So please, Teofimo Lopez, keep going up in popularity. I want you to do that. Because I want you to get demolished, exposed, and trounced. Because I'm not believing in your stock. I still believe a Devin Haney of the world can beat your ass. I still believe a Shakur Stevenson can beat your ass. And what you showed me against Tatley last night, I was not impressed. I'm sorry. I was not impressed. And if people are sitting there and taking their bias to the side, and they go back and look at the tail of the tape, they'll see those 3 glaring deficiencies. Again, let's recap. He couldn't cut the ring off effectively. It was shown in round 3 through 5. He was struggling there. He got it done, but he was struggling. He can't finish his opponents off. He finished off Tatley, but it took him some time to do that. And when I expect you to be that elite, I expect your finishings to come earlier. An opponent like Tatley should have been out of there in 2 to 3 rounds. Shouldn't have took him 5 rounds to do that. And then, because he keeps his hands down a lot, he's there to be countered. Tatley was landing some jabs on his ass. Shit, Magdaleno was landing jabs on his ass. See, I know what I'm talking about, man. Y'all need to go and watch the tail of the tape, folks. I told y'all about that bad habit that boy has to keeping his hands down. And all he needs is the right type of fighter, a slick fighter like a Shakur Stevenson type that can sit there and get the range and get the distance on his ass and then just land those counter jabs on his ass all day. That's all he would need to do. And he will expose this dude. Because what I'm looking at in front of me is a very flawed fighter. Yes, I said it. I don't see nothing spectacular with Teofimo Lopez. And anybody that's selling on this dude's stock, I'm sorry, man. The takeover is going to be takeless. I'm going to say that again. The takeover is going to be takeless. If I give a guy credit for having a knockout victory over a bum, then that's what I'm giving him credit for doing it over his truest and most properest levels, bums. But come and defeat a Lomachenko, and then I'll put some respect on your name. We know that ain't happening. Not with that performance I saw. That's why I said this young pup, roof, roof. His ass ain't ready, man. His ass is not ready. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out. No matter of fact, before I check out, keep that same energy and call Errol the Truth Spence out 2 to 3 more times and watch the pit bull go. Arr, arr. And you know what's going to end up happening? You will walk out of that fight crippled, and you will walk out of that fight not recognizing yourself. We will be saying R.I.P. to the Teofimo Takeless Lopez. This is Henos' Sport. Rechecking out.